Hi there, welcome and thank you for being here. My name is Lyn, the Queen of Hearts, and today I'm going to be talking about 8 ways that you can raise your vibration. So this is all around raising your vibration so you're operating at your best energetic level. And to do that, we need to be very much more mindful about our own awareness. We need to be observing what we say and what we do, and we need to be a lot more conscious about everything we're actually thinking, doing, and saying and being in every sort of, I suppose, minute of every day of our lives. And this can sound as though, oh my gosh, that sounds like a lot of work, but eventually it becomes an unconscious habit that you just get into once you start to practice being more mindful, more aware, more conscious, and observing just exactly what you're thinking, what you're saying, and what you're doing at any one moment in time. Believe me, it does get easier. So what's the first thing to actually raise your vibration that I'm going to speak about? Well, the first thing is being more conscious of your thoughts and what you say, not only about your DM, but also about yourself. You know, it's very important to always affirm good things about you and yourself, you know, give yourself that gift of self-love and affirm that you are amazing. And don't get into the mindset of focusing on any negatives, because what we say and what we think can create our current reality. In other words, you know, you can make it a self-fulfilling prophecy. So if you're always complaining about your divine masculine or about yourself, and you're saying, oh, you know, he doesn't care and he's not interested and is doesn't bother to get in touch, and you're projecting all those thoughts in your head as well as maybe speaking them out to maybe others in conversation, then you're going to create more of that because you get what you focus on. And so we create our own self-fulfilling prophecy on the back of what we actually speak and what we actually think. So it's always good to get into the practice of being mindful of what we're thinking and what we're saying about ourselves and about others, especially, you know, on this journey around our divine masculine. So think about catching yourself if you find yourself saying anything negative or reacting from a place of fear, and changing that. You know, I'm not saying that I don't sometimes, you know, have a negative thought or, you know, react from a place of fear, because now and again I still do, but what happens is I catch myself whenever that happens pretty quick these days, and I change it and I think instead, well, what is the blessing or the gift in this present moment? You know, what can I learn from this particular what can I learn from this particular situation at this moment in time? Where is the blessing? And there always is one. You know, you will get an answer to that. So that's my first way of raising your vibration. Number 2 is just do something for yourself. It's very important to engage in self-care practices, such as, for me, you know, one of my favorite self-care practices is just to give myself, you know, that extra 5 or 10 minutes that I want, having a luxurious bubble bath, for example, or having a nice long hot shower. You know, that really rejuvenates me and makes me feel good. So think about what it is for you that makes you feel great and gives you some me time, and start implementing it as part of your daily routine. And if your response to that is to say, oh, I don't have time for that, then think about what you can let go of to make time for that, because it's very, very important to give yourself that me time so that you're all the while keeping your cup full, so that you can then give to others, because we can't give to others what we haven't given to ourselves first. So we need to fill up our own cup first before we're able to give that love and that compassion and that kindness and that help and that support and that opportunity to inspire, especially our DMs, to raise themselves to meet our energetic match if we've not actually done the work on ourselves at the same time. So that's number 2, is a bit about what can you implement as regards some sort of self-care routine, such as a bubble bath or a long hot shower. Number 3 is adopt an attitude of gratitude. You know, what can you appreciate? Again, starting with yourself. What can you appreciate about yourself and affirm about yourself that you can make a note of, you know, such as in a gratitude journal on a daily basis, around first and foremost something great about yourself. Then look externally and think, well, what can I be grateful for in this very moment in terms of what you're currently experiencing? What can you be grateful about your divine masculine? What can you be grateful for around the actual twin flame journey that you know is a blessing? As well as, you know, just everyday things that you notice during your day. It might be, you know, something to do with a pet or a child, a client, your health, other relationships with other people. There's always going to be things you can be grateful for. There's such a lot of gifts in nature, for example, that if we look for them, we can be grateful for. So adopting an attitude of gratitude and appreciation for what you have rather than what you don't have, and all the gifts that we have in nature is my number 3. So number 4 is implement something like a daily meditation practice every day. And if you're not sure what meditation is, there's plenty of online help which you can Google. There's some great guided meditations online, and it only needs to be something that's you can look for 5-minute ones, and it doesn't have to take up a lot of time out of your day to get into the habit of having a daily meditation. But basically meditation is, again, you know, implementing a bit of self-care. It's just giving yourself that 5 minutes where you can just be still with yourself and give yourself the gift of relaxation and deep breathing exercises, and just being still and allowing yourself to have that gift. Number 5 is random acts of kindness. So these are things that you can do to always make yourself feel better, which can be random acts of kindness for yourself or random acts of kindness for others. One of my favorites is to, you know, give somebody my parking ticket if there's still time left on it, or pay for theirs from the, you know, if they're parking at a parking meter, pop a coin in and just say that's a gift from me today. Or, you know, just pay for somebody's coffee who's a random stranger in a coffee shop. Things like that don't have to necessarily cost you money, but, you know, or a lot of money, but, you know, they are nice gifts that we can offer to others that we meet on our day-to-day exchanges. Another random act of kindness, I think, is, you know, actually acknowledging the checkout person when we go shopping. You know, quite often they've got a name badge on, and I always use their name and thank them very much and greet them and say goodbye when they've finished checking out my goods. And do you know what? That might be the only time somebody's been civil to them during their day. And it just makes a big difference. You don't know what ripple effect that might have in how they might treat that next customer. Okay, so random acts of kindness. Number 6 is moving your body more. You know, this has become, especially, I suppose, maybe more so during our current situation, which at the moment, if you're watching this after the pandemic has finished, hopefully, then it might not apply to you. But currently we're in the middle of a pandemic where you know, a lot of us have been in isolation and working from home more, which has meant we've led a bit more of a sedate lifestyle. So, you know, getting out, moving about, just having a good old stretch, moving our bodies. You don't necessarily need to engage in, you know, anything heavy in terms of exercise. You may be very much into exercise and have a perfectly great exercise routine in place, but if you haven't, just moving your body, you know, just having a good stretch, doing things like going for a walk, having a little dance, you know, put some music on, have a little dance, and just being a bit more physical. Even just the act of just like rolling your shoulders back and sticking your chest out and putting your head up can make you feel in a more confident state than if you're rolling your shoulders forward and got your head down and frowning. Can instantly, sometimes just your physiology can put you in more of a negative state or more receptive to being in a negative state. So, you know, think about your posture, what's going to be putting you in a state that's going to be more conducive to being confident and having positive thoughts and being in a positive state. And usually it is around, you know, keeping your back straight, rolling your shoulders back, lifting your chest a bit higher and your chin a bit higher, and then automatically you'll find that you probably can't have a negative thought when you change your posture and you're in that position. So just that little act on its own can make a huge difference. Number 7 is think about what you're eating and drinking. You know, we can always make little changes to eat a bit cleaner and drink a bit cleaner, you know, cut down on alcohol or abstain from alcohol or cut it out completely. And the same with our foods, you know, think about, you know, introducing more organic, natural foods rather than maybe currently you've got maybe a lot of processed foods in the home. So I'm not saying you necessarily need to cut out everything drastically right from the word go, but think about cutting down on those things. You know, think about how you can have less of the processed foods and start introducing more organic raw foods and natural foods that are healthier into your diet, because again, that is going to be conducive to helping you raise your vibration. And then number 8 is something I've observed that has really helped me a lot, and that's creating quality screen time. You know, now whether that's a TV, whether that's the phone, whether that's online watching YouTube videos or whatever that might be, but creating moments of quality screen time. So in other words, being mindful of what you're feeding yourself in what you're consuming from your screen time, whether that's films, dramas, and programs on TV, or whether that's what you're consuming online, you know, on YouTube or on social media platforms. You know, be mindful about choosing what you engage in and what you watch. So, for example, for me, you know, I've literally stopped being interested in watching the news because I just don't want to be taking that information in. You know, because it's such a lot of doom and gloom and negative. I just don't want anything that's going to change my state for the worse. So I actively, more often than not, don't listen. Now and again, I haven't cut it out 100%, but now I don't make a conscious decision now to actually listen to it on a daily basis or tune into it. And the same with any sort of programs that are horror or involve violence. I don't necessarily enjoy watching those now, or even I used to read a lot of horror books, for example, and I used to in my youth quite like horror movies, but that sort of stuff doesn't interest me at all now, you know, because I know that has a negative impact on my body. I don't want to be consuming those sorts of types of films and programs anymore that might have a negative impact on my well-being. So again, just a tip to be mindful around choosing quality screen time in terms of what you're actually consuming as a watcher and a listener from those sorts of things and programs. And just a bonus one is number 9 is surrender. Surrender, to the twin flame journey unfolding how it's meant to be. We quite often get hung up on when's it going to happen in terms of union, and get totally caught up in the how and the when, and we need to let go of that and just know it is going to happen, all at different times for many of us, and that's why a lot of people, when they're giving advice and guidance around the twin flame journey, can't actually give you a time, because it is literally all in divine time for each and every one of us. There's going to be different waves of twin flames coming into union at different times, so people can't actually give you a set time or period when you're likely to come into union. All you can do is make the changes for yourself to enable yourself to achieve it vibrationally by adapting some of these practices we've talked about on this video, but also letting go, surrendering to the how and the when. And the best way I can sort of give you an example of this is, a farmer, when he plants his crops or seeds, doesn't keep going to the ground and pointing his finger at it saying, come on, I want you to grow. He just allows nature to take its course. And he just knows, he just surrenders and just lets go of the fact that, and trusts that those seeds and those crops are going to grow. Obviously, he nurtures them, and you can nurture the relationship energetically. I'm not saying you don't need to necessarily stop nurturing that relationship or having compassion for your twin while you're on the journey, or stop sending love. What I'm saying is, just let go of the how and the when, and just know it'll happen. If you truly believe that you're in a twin flame relationship, then, how you feel is what's real. So just hold on to that thought and just know that that seed was planted by the divine. You entered into that contract whenever that was, and it will happen. So you don't need to know when or how it will happen. Just know it will happen, and it will be worth it. Whatever time you need to wait, it will be worth it. And just know that you will reap the rewards and the harvest of union whenever it's meant for you. So I hope this was useful. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and for all your wonderful comments. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, become notified, and be part of the Hearts tribe. And until next time, goodbye for now.